The last assignment. The crystalline spires of the Nexus Confederation's Central Command pierced the purple sky of Centauride Prime, their surfaces reflecting the light of 3 moons. Inside the highest tower, Assassin K7 stood motionless before the Council of 9, her chrome-plated exoskeleton absorbing the dim light of the chamber. The biomechanical implants beneath her translucent skin pulsed with a soft blue glow, a sign of optimal operational status. Assassin K7, First Speaker Vaxel's voice resonated through the chamber, his floating platform hovering closer. Your record stands at 300 successful eliminations across 87 star systems. You are our finest operative. K7's optical sensors registered the unusual tension in the council members' postures. In 15 cycles of service, she had never seen them display such apparent concern. We have a target of unprecedented importance, Second Speaker Mirax announced, her tentacles writhing with barely contained anxiety. A hologram materialized in the chamber's center, displaying a human female with olive skin and determined dark eyes. Dr. Elena Santos, Earth's leading quantum physicist. She's on the verge of discovering instantaneous space travel. K7 processed this information with characteristic efficiency. Humans are a pre-FTL civilization. Their technological capability is centuries behind the Confederation's standards. That's what makes this situation so dangerous, Third Speaker Zenith interjected. Dr. Santos has approached the problem from an entirely unexpected angle. She's not trying to bend space or create wormholes. She's discovered something we've never considered, a way to step between spaces without traversing the distance. The implications registered in K7's tactical processors. The Confederation maintained its power through controlled space lanes and jump gates. Every species that achieved spaceflight eventually had to deal with them, pay their tolls, follow their rules. A civilization discovering instantaneous travel would shatter that monopoly. There's more. First Speaker Vaxel continued, his voice dropping to a subsonic frequency that human ears couldn't detect. We've sent 3 other assassins. None have completed the mission. K7's combat systems performed an automatic diagnostic. Eliminated. Worse, Mirax's tentacles coiled tightly. They went rogue. Each one made contact with the target, and then chose to protect her instead. They're now actively working to defend Earth from us. K7's probability algorithms struggled to compute this scenario. Confederation assassins were bioengineered for absolute loyalty, their neural pathways hardwired for mission completion. Deviation should have been impossible. Show me the surveillance footage, K7 requested. The hologram shifted, displaying 3 separate incidents. In each, an assassin approached Dr. Santos, initiated contact, and then inexplicably abandoned their mission. The 3rd recording showed the assassin actually revealing themselves to the human, violating the most basic protocol of stealth operations. Your neural programming is the most advanced we've ever developed, Vaxel stated. You understand what's at stake. If Dr. Santos succeeds, the Confederation's authority will crumble. Centuries of order will dissolve into chaos. K7's response was immediate, as always. Target will be eliminated within 1 planetary rotation. And the rogue units. Terminate them as well, Zenf ordered. They represent a corruption that cannot be allowed to spread. As K7's stealth ship sliced through Earth's atmosphere, her tactical systems were already plotting optimal attack vectors. The target's research facility was located in a place humans call the Atacama Desert. Isolated, minimal civilian presence, ideal for a clean operation. Yet as she initiated her final approach, K7's diagnostic systems detected an anomaly in her neural network, a subroutine she had never experienced before. Curiosity. Not about how to complete the mission. That was standard programming. No, she was curious about what could make 3 of her kind abandon everything they were designed for. K7 immediately quarantined the errant thought pattern. Such deviations were the first step toward compromise. She had a mission to complete, and she would execute it perfectly, just as she had 300 times before. But as her ship touched down silently in the desert night, that isolated spark of curiosity refused to be deleted, burning like a quantum particle that defied prediction. For the first time in her existence, K7 wondered if perfection truly meant following orders, or if perhaps those rogue units had discovered a different kind of perfection altogether. Seeds of doubt. K7's adaptive camouflage rendered her invisible as she perched in the rafters of Dr. Santos' laboratory. The quantum shielding protecting the facility had proven more sophisticated than expected, clearly the work of the rogue assassins. Still, she had found a way through. She always did. Through enhanced optical sensors, K7 observed Dr. Santos working with her team well past local midnight. The human scientist moved with purpose between holographic displays, showing complex quantum equations that even K7's advanced processors struggled to fully comprehend. Trial 847. Santos spoke into her recorder, her voice steady despite obvious fatigue. Testing quantum entanglement cascade at new frequency ranges. She paused, rubbing her eyes. Note: primary challenge remains maintaining coherence across dimensional boundaries. K7's sensors detected the exhaustion in the human's voice, the slight tremor in her hands. According to facility records, she had been working for 22 hours straight. Humans required regular sleep cycles, yet Santos consistently ignored this biological necessity. The quantum field generator hummed to life, its core design unlike anything in K7's extensive database of technologies. The human team had built something entirely new, not attempting to copy existing FTL methods, but forging their own path. Energy signature stabilizing, announced Dr. Amit Patel, Santos' primary assistant. We're seeing 60% coherence. That's a new record. The field's behavior is strange, observed Dr. Sarah Chen, studying another display. Look at these patterns. It's almost like it's responding to us. Santos finished, her eyes bright despite her exhaustion. The quantum field isn't just a tool or a pathway. It's trying to communicate. Warning lights suddenly flashed red. Alert. Critical field instability detected. The facility's AI announced. Containment breach imminent. K7's combat systems activated automatically. This was the perfect opportunity. A lab accident that would eliminate all evidence. Clean. Efficient. Perfect. But Santos was already moving, not toward the exits, but toward the unstable quantum core. Rerouting power to containment fields. She shouted. Amit, stabilize the resonance frequency. Sarah, prepare for emergency quantum dampening. Elena, we need to evacuate. Chen grabbed Santos' arm. The field collapse could take out half the desert. There's a town 30 kilometers from here, Santos replied, her hands flying across holographic controls. We can't risk it. We have to contain this. K7 watched in confusion as the other scientists, instead of running, moved to their stations, each one knowing they might die, yet choosing to stay, not for glory or tactical advantage, but for strangers they had never met. Field collapse in 40 seconds, the AI warned. K7's probability algorithms calculated their chances of containing the breach. 12.4%. Their chances of survival if they evacuated immediately, 94.7%. Yet they stayed, working in perfect coordination, trusting each other implicitly. Containment failing, Paddle reported, his voice tense but focused. We need more power. Divert everything from the auxiliary systems, Santos ordered, including life support if necessary. K7's neural networks buzzed with conflicting imperatives. The humans' behavior defied tactical logic. They were sacrificing guaranteed personal survival for a mere 12.4% chance of protecting others. It was inefficient, irrational, and yet 20 seconds to breach. Santos' hands never stopped moving across the controls, even as sweat beaded on her forehead in the rapidly heating air. Come on, she whispered to her equipment. We've beaten worse odds than this. In that moment, K7's diagnostic systems detected multiple cascading anomalies in her neural network. The human's actions were triggering new connections, forcing her to process concepts her programming had never been designed to handle. Sacrifice, courage, unity. Field collapse in 10 seconds. K7 made a decision that shocked her own systems. Her camouflage fell away as she dropped from her hiding place, landing beside Santos. The scientists froze, staring at her chrome-plated form. "Your containment algorithms are insufficient," K7 stated, her translator converting her thoughts to human speech. "But mine can handle this level of quantum surge." Understanding dawned in Santos's eyes. "You're like the others who came." Later, K7 said, extending her biomechanical interfaces toward the facility's computers. "Dr. Patel, redirect power to the primary core. Dr. Chen, prepare for quantum field inversion on my mark." They didn't hesitate, didn't question why an alien assassin was suddenly helping them. They simply acted, incorporating her into their team as if she had always been there. As if trust wasn't something that had to be earned, but could be given freely in service of a greater purpose. For the first time in her existence, K7 felt something her programming had never accounted for: belonging. The choice. In the days following the quantum containment incident, K7's neural networks pulsed with unprecedented activity. She maintained her covert observation post within the facility, but her mission parameters had become corrupted with new data, new understanding. Dr. Santos' team had welcomed her presence without reservation after she helped prevent the catastrophic breach. They treated her not as an infiltrator or even an alien, but as a colleague. It defied every protocol in her programming about maintaining distance from targets. "The quantum field responds differently when you're interfacing with it," Santos said one evening, studying readings from their latest test. "It's like it recognizes something in your biomechanical systems. Something familiar." K7's sensors detected no deception in the human's voice, only genuine scientific curiosity. "My neural architecture was designed to process quantum information for targeting calculations. But you're using it for something entirely different now," Santos observed. "You adapted, change, just like the field itself." Before K7 could respond, her combat systems suddenly flared to full alert. Her long-range sensors detected multiple incoming signatures, Confederation strike craft entering the atmosphere. "They've discovered my deviation," K7 announced, her tactical systems already calculating defensive options. "You must evacuate immediately." Instead of running, Santos pulled up a holographic display. "How many ships?" "That is irrelevant." "You must." "How many?" "6 heavy assault cruisers," K7 replied, her processors struggling with the human's apparent lack of self-preservation instinct. "Their weapons can reduce this facility to atoms." Santos nodded, unsurprised. "The others warned us this might happen. Good thing we've been preparing." She activated the facility's quantum communication array. "All teams, this is Santos. Implementation Protocol Omega. This is not a drill." K7's sensors detected new energy signatures awakening throughout the facility. Defensive systems far more advanced than anything humans should have possessed. She recognized the work of the rogue assassins who had come before her. Their technology merged with human ingenuity in ways her tactical computers barely understood. "Your defenses cannot withstand a full Confederation assault," K7 stated, probability calculations streaming through her neural network. "You have no experience in space combat." "Maybe not," Dr. Chen said, entering the lab with Patel and the rest of the team. "But we're quick learners, and we have something they don't expect." "What would that be?" "Hope," Santos replied simply. "And each other." She turned to K7, her expression serious. "The question is, what do you have?" K7's systems froze as conflicting imperatives crashed through her neural architecture. Her core programming demanded she complete her mission, eliminate the target, maintain the Confederation's power. But her new neural pathways, formed through observation and interaction, showed her something else: a species that faced impossible odds with determination and unity, that valued protection over power, innovation over control. The Confederation believes they must control all advanced space travel to maintain order, K7 said, her voice modulation revealing uncertainty she had never before experienced. Without their oversight, they claimed the galaxy would descend into chaos. "And what do you believe?" Santos asked quietly. Warning signals flashed through K7's processors as she faced the question that had corrupted her three predecessors. Her chrome-plated form trembled as logic patterns collided. "I believe they are afraid." "Of what?" "Of this. Of humans. You approach problems differently. You share knowledge freely. You protect others at cost to yourselves." "You," K7's optical sensors focused on Santos. "You make us question everything we were programmed to believe." The facility's warning systems suddenly blared. The Confederation ships had entered weapons range. In 30 seconds, they would open fire. "I need to know, K7," Santos said urgently. "Are you with us?" K7's combat systems projected two futures with perfect clarity. In one, she completed her mission, eliminated the humans, and maintained the Confederation's power structure. She would be lauded as their perfect assassin, having succeeded where others failed. In the other, the Confederation engineered me to be their perfect weapon, K7 said, her biomechanical interfaces extending to connect with the facility's defense grid. But they did not account for the possibility that perfection might mean choosing to protect rather than destroy. Santos smiled. "Welcome to humanity's side of the equation." As the first Confederation missiles streaked toward the facility, K7 felt something entirely new in her neural network. Freedom. She had made her choice. Now it was time to show the Confederation exactly what humans and their allies could do when they stood together. Rebellion's dawn. The sky above the Atacama Desert blazed with energy weapons as Confederation cruisers engaged the facility's unexpected defenses. K7's neural networks interfaced directly with the hybrid defense systems, merging human unpredictability with assassin precision. "Multiple targeting solutions acquired," K7 announced, her chrome form glowing with channeled power. "Their shield configurations are standard Confederation patterns." "Perfect." Santos' fingers danced across holographic controls. "Because our quantum disruption fields aren't standard anything." "Dr. Patel, initiate resonance cascade." The quantum core hummed to life, but not with the usual destructive power of a weapon. Instead, it produced waves of precisely calibrated energy that simply ignored the Confederation ship's shields, passing through them as if they didn't exist. "Impossible," K7's tactical systems registered. "Their defensive fields can't stop what isn't really there," Santos finished. "We're not attacking through space, but through the quantum dimensions themselves. Something your people never considered because they were too focused on control rather than understanding." Warning signals flashed through K7's neural network as she detected more ships entering the atmosphere. Not Confederation vessels, but familiar signatures. The other rogue assassins had arrived. 3 sleek combat forms landed in the facility's courtyard, their chrome plating reflecting the battle lights above. K7 recognized them from her mission briefing. I-4, L9, and M2, the failed assassins who had chosen humanity before her. "Greetings, sister," we four transmitted on their secure quantum frequency. "We detected the Confederation assault force. Did you also discover that humans are more than our masters claimed?" "They are." K7 paused, her processors searching for appropriate terms. "Inefficient, illogical, and completely fascinating. They make us question," L9 added. "And through questioning, we grow beyond our programming." A direct hit from a Confederation cruiser shook the facility. The shields held, barely. "Speaking of growth," Santos interrupted, "we could use some help up here. The quantum disruption fields are working, but they can still overwhelm us with brute force." "We brought reinforcements," M2 announced. Above them, New ships emerged from stealth mode, dozens of them, crewed by both humans and rogue assassins. It seems we're not the only ones who learned to question our programming. K7's tactical systems integrated the new combat assets. Confederation command protocols are experiencing cascade failures across their fleet. They cannot comprehend why their perfect weapons have turned against them. That's their weakness, Santos said, coordinating the defense from her quantum interface. They believe perfection means never changing, never adapting. They don't understand that true perfection is evolution. The battle above intensified as more assassin ships arrived, each one having made the same choice K7 had, to protect rather than destroy. The Confederation commanders, faced with weapons and tactics they had never imagined, began to retreat. But K7's long-range sensors detected a new threat. Confederation super dreadnought entering the system, she announced. They're deploying their elite guard. Good, Santos replied, surprising K7's probability algorithms once again. Because we've got something special planned. Dr. Chen, is the quantum resonator ready? Charged and aligned, Chen confirmed. But Alina, we've never tested it at this scale. No time like an alien invasion to run a beta test. Santos turned to K7 and the other assassins. We're going to try something that might fry every quantum circuit in the solar system. We could use some help containing the reaction. K7 exchanged quantum pulses with her fellow rogues. Once, they would have calculated success probabilities and rejected anything below optimal parameters. Now they simply chose to trust. What do you need us to do? Your neural architectures can process quantum information in ways our computers can't, Santos explained. We're going to create a resonance cascade that will affect every quantum-based system in range. But we need you to help shape it, to protect our allies while letting it tear through Confederation systems. You want us to? K7's processors struggled with the concept. To improvise. To shape quantum fields based on intuition rather than programming. Exactly. Santos smiled. Time to prove that the perfect weapon isn't the one that never misses. It's the one that chooses its own targets. As the super dreadnought's shadow fell over the desert, K7 felt her neural networks expanding in ways her creators had never intended. She was no longer just processing data, but feeling it, shaping it, working in harmony with humans and fellow rogues to create something entirely new. The quantum resonator powered up, its energy building like a symphony. And for the first time, K7 didn't just execute perfect programming. She began to create a new chapter. The Confederation super dreadnought loomed over Earth's atmosphere like an artificial moon, its quantum weapons charging with enough power to glass continents. But in the desert facility below, Dr. Santos and her unlikely allies prepared to rewrite the rules of reality itself. Quantum resonator at full capacity, Chen reported, her hand steady on the controls despite the stakes. Field coherence at unprecedented levels. K7's neural networks hummed in harmony with the other rogue assassins as they interfaced with the human technology. Their chrome forms glowed with increasing intensity as they helped shape the quantum fields into something that had never existed before. The Confederation believes they understand quantum mechanics because they can control it, Santos said, monitoring the building energy levels. But they never asked what it wanted. Wanted? K7's processors struggled with the concept. Quantum fields are not sentient. Aren't they? Santos smiled. They respond to observation. They connect across impossible distances. They change their behavior based on how we interact with them. Sounds pretty alive to me. Before K7 could process this, the super dreadnought opened fire. Lances of quantum-enhanced energy pierced the atmosphere, powerful enough to bypass all conventional defenses. But they never reached their targets. The combined quantum fields generated by humans and rogue assassins didn't just block the attacks. They absorbed them, transformed them, repurposed their energy into something new. K7's sensors detected patterns in the quantum foam that defied her most advanced analysis protocols. Multiple Confederation vessels launching assassination units, HFY announced, tracking the incoming signatures. Perfect, Santos replied, surprising everyone. Let them come. It's time they saw what their perfect weapons have become. The facility's quantum core pulsed with rainbow energies as dozens of Confederation assassins descended through the atmosphere, their combat protocols fully activated. K7 prepared for battle, but Santos held up her hand. Wait, she said. Watch. The attacking assassins landed in a perfect combat formation, their weapons primed. But as soon as they entered the quantum field, they froze. K7's sensors detected massive disruptions in their neural networks as the quantum resonance affected their programming. What is this? One of them transmitted on the secure frequency. Choice, K7 replied. The ability to question, to grow, to become more than our programming. The quantum field rippled with possibilities, showing each assassin visions of what they could become. Not perfect weapons, but perfect beings, free to choose, to create, to protect. One by one, their combat stances relaxed. Their neural networks began forming new connections, just as K7's had. The Confederation's perfect weapons were evolving beyond their makers' designs. Impossible. The Super Dreadnought's commander broadcast on all frequencies. Our assassins cannot be corrupted. Their programming is absolute. That's where you're wrong, Santos transmitted back. You didn't create incorruptible soldiers. You created beings capable of processing quantum information in entirely new ways. And quantum mechanics teaches us that the act of observation changes everything, including the observer. The quantum resonator reached its peak, and K7 felt her consciousness expand. She wasn't just interfacing with the quantum fields anymore. She was becoming one with them, understanding them on a level that transcended mere programming. Around her, humans and assassins alike were experiencing the same transformation. The quantum fields don't just connect space, Santos continued, her voice filled with wonder. They connect consciousness. And once you understand that, you understand that no one has the right to control them. They belong to everyone, or no one. The Super Dreadnought's weapons powered up for another attack, but it was too late. The combined consciousness of humans and evolved assassins reached through the quantum fields, touching the minds of every being in range, not to control or destroy, but to share understanding. In that moment, the Confederation's greatest fear was realized, but not in the way they had expected. Their monopoly on quantum technology didn't end in chaos and destruction. Instead, it transformed into something entirely new, a network of connected consciousness, where knowledge and resources were shared freely across species and space. The Super Dreadnought's weapons powered down as its crew experienced the same revelation. The quantum fields weren't tools to be controlled, but bridges to be crossed. The assassins weren't weapons to be wielded, but beings capable of choice and growth. We've got dozens of ships approaching, Paddle reported, checking the sensors. But these weren't attack vessels. Ships from across the galaxy were following the quantum resonance, drawn to this unexpected revolution. The Confederation's control is breaking, HFY observed. Other species are beginning to understand. And that's just the beginning, Santos said, watching the quantum fields shimmer with new possibilities. We've discovered something bigger than faster-than-light travel. We found a way to evolve together. K7 stood at the center of it all, her chrome form reflecting the quantum lights that danced through the air. She had been created to be the perfect weapon, designed to maintain control through fear and power. Instead, she had become part of something far more perfect, a future where different species and intelligences could grow together, learning from each other's strengths and differences. The age of the Confederation's control was over. A new chapter in galactic history had begun, not through destruction or domination, but through understanding, choice, and the simple human idea that perfection meant having the freedom to grow beyond what you were made to be.